Hey everybody, you're watching the Mike Nelson Show. I want to thank everybody who's already subscribed to the channel. We're close to 500. Hopefully we can get to that this week or even next week. So I want to thank everybody around the world who's subscribed to the channel. It's such a short time. It's only been around 6 months, this channel, but I want to thank everybody for the support. Today, I got a very special guest. I got the band Olive Vox. How you doing today, guys?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. So
Good.
to start off the interview, I'm going to have everybody, give their name and, give their instrument as well. That way our listeners on the radio can know who they're listening to.
Yeah.
I'm Caden. I'm the guitar player and backup vocalist for All Vox.
You want me to go? Okay. I'm Ben. I'm the bass player for All Vox.
My name's Parker, and I'm the lead vocalist to All Vox.
Awesome. Now, just to tell the listeners and the viewers, I actually ran into Ben at the Turnstile show right here at the Hollywood Palladium. That's kind of how we got this whole interview kicked off. How was the Turnstile show, guys?
It was amazing.
Amazing. Best show I've ever been to, easily.
Yeah, I think it was one of the best shows I've ever been to too. I go to a lot of shows, for my other job. I interview fans before they go in and stuff. But I think this Turnstile tour is just amazing. I think the energy that the band is bringing on is just, and it's just great to see that the band's going to get some recognition, hopefully in the Grammys next year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Cool. So how did the whole band get started? How did Olive Vox get started? Tell me the story about that.
You go. Okay, I'm gonna go. Well, me and Parker are brothers. So since birth, basically. But we've been always surrounded by music, and we sort of we're like, hey man, we both do music. Let's start something up. Like, we both have good brains for this stuff. And then we were like, well, let's start a band. I started writing music when I was about 12. Parker, he always is sang. So he writes all the lyrics, and we were like, we need a band. So we went on Facebook and we found Ben on on Facebook, and he was the perfect fit, man. He's a big brain.
I was going to say, people still use Facebook?
Yeah, apparently.
Dude, I just responded to the ad, man, and here we are now.
That's crazy, man. So you guys are California and Texas based, right? Tell me the story. So Ben, you're out here and you were in California. How did it come about? You guys are out in Texas now, but how did that come about?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Texas, and Parker and Caden were born in Orange County, and then they moved to Texas, Dallas area in I don't know, 11 years ago or whatever, right? And then I don't know the whole lore behind you guys, but yeah, and so now we've been going out to California a lot recently just to record some songs out there. So we're kind of half and half at this point.
Now, what sort of music were you guys into? Parker and Caden, you guys kind of started this band off. What kind of music were you guys into, growing up?
We listen. Both of our parents are super musically inclined people. Like my dad was really into kind of Guns N' Roses and Stone Temple Pilots and all those people, but my mom was more Smashing Pumpkins, Nine Inch Nails. But we just kind of filled the gaps in with what they didn't show us, of course, Nirvana and Alice in Chains and all that good stuff. So it really just kind of grew from there. I know me and Caden take big inspiration from Cage the Elephant. We found that ourselves, and it really just kind of went from there. It's one of my favorite bands to this day, and I found them when I was 9. So yeah, it works out that way, I guess.
Anybody else want to add to that?
Oh, that was good. Cage the Elephant.
All right, so how do you guys think you got the sound that you have now for the band? It's probably, it's taken some time, of course, but I mean, you guys have a pretty unique sound, because there's a lot of, bands, I think in the last 5 or so years, a lot of people are playing, rock and metal and punk again, but you guys, I think, have a, unique sound, kind of a refreshing sound, I think, that we don't hear with a lot of bands today. How do you guys think you got that sound that you have?
Well, for me,
I listened to at the time of writing. It's kind of like weird now because now we're in the process of making new stuff, but the stuff that's out, I was heavily into like Ty Segall and like heavy fuzz, like distortion. Still am, admittedly, but I was kind of just into that grungy, like psychedelic type thing, you know what I mean? And whenever I write my songs, that's like how I would go about it, you know what I mean? From the start. That's kind of where the inspiration came from for that. And Nirvana, obviously. Huge inspiration. And them, that's me.
All right. So what about like for the band itself right now? You guys recorded the EP last year. How was the process doing that?
I mean, it was pretty fun. Recording's always a blast. So we recorded that in a little studio down in Denton, Texas, or Argyle, Texas. It's called the Echo Lab. It's like in a little barn, we recorded it there. But, it was pretty fun overall, a positive experience. Happy that the music's out. But we just recorded our newest collective, group of songs at East West Studios, actually right down the street from the Palladium where Turnstile played. So we recorded it there, and now hopefully this will be a better representation of where our sound, like how our sound has progressed, So. Mm-hmm.
Now let's fast forward. How did you guys get the name All of Vox? Tell me about that.
I'm the guy who always tells this one. But so our original band name was Hoof, but we looked up Hoof, and there's a lot of other bands that have that name, and they're all metal, and they're kind of underground. So we're like, we need to have a name that not everybody has, and that like if you're gonna look us up, you'll just be able to find us like right away. So we really just kind of started thinking about band names. We had some horrible ones, and like just writing it all down on paper. And one day I was sitting in my room, actually after recording at the Echo Lab in Argyle. There was a talkback box that said Vox wherever I hit the button to like speak to the producer. So that word was kind of bouncing around my head. But while I was thinking of that word, I was eating olives. So I was like, Olive Vox. And I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. And I was like, that kind of rolls off the tongue nice. So I just kind of like threw it to Caden, and he was like, wow, dude, this name sucks. This is awful. But it's our band name now, and I think he likes it. So it's all good.
Now
Yeah.
with the EP, are you guys happy? What came out? You guys think you could have done a little better. What do you think of the first EP?
I think with the first EP, it was like the best we could do at the time for sure. And I'm proud of it. I mean, we're still pretty young, especially me. I'm like only 16. So I'm still like learning, so it was a good handful of songs in my opinion. And I think I'm excited to get these new ones up and rolling because I think they're way better personally, but
Now, what do you think, for the new songs, when do you think we're going to probably hear these songs, you think?
Early next year, February to March. We have a lot of stuff in the works right now. We're working on our artwork for our first single right now. It's exciting to say the least. Big things.
Now, if we could go through each member, what made you pick up your instrument? What made you become a musician? If we could just go through each member, I could talk about that.
Ben.
Okay. I don't know. I moved to a new area right when I was starting to learn how to play the bass, and I had no friends, and then like COVID hit, so I just had so much free time, and music was like my way to escape and like kind of like get things out. So I just played a lot, and then I don't know, I just really enjoyed it, and so that's kind of what inspired me. I heard Red Hot Chili Peppers. I heard Flea play, and that was the first time I really heard bass in the wild, I guess. Like that was the first time I really like conceptualized it as an instrument, and just something clicked with me. So, I know most bass players start on guitar and then go to bass because they're forced to, but I was just a bass player from day one. I just love it.
So guitar, I've been playing guitar actually technically since I was like a little baby. There's a lot of videos of me playing like little ukuleles and stuff. But for real, like I really started playing guitar when I turned 7. Right when I turned 7, I started playing the guitar. I think I learned Smoke on the Water, obviously, and I was like hooked in, man. And then I started listening to like Nirvana in the 4th grade. And honestly, I give all my credit to Kurt Cobain for like my start because his songs were so easy. And I was just like, I learned the whole Nevermind album in 4th grade. And that's what really like got me going. Like that's really the start for me. And then so on and so forth, here we are. So that's me.
And then me, I don't really play any instruments. I mean, I play the piano, but there's really no room for like a grand piano in our music. So, I mean, when I really started taking singing seriously, I think I was a lot like older than when they started. I think I was like 14 when I was really like, okay, I need to like work on my voice, and because your voice is a muscle, and I didn't understand like, oh, I can't just go out and scream, like what's this all about, because you'll blow your voice out. So I really like started doing vocal warm-ups and training myself to, get to the point to where I am now. But I think when I really knew that I wanted to do something like performing, I think I was in 1st grade. I did like a Christmas recital. It's on video, it's on YouTube. And I had like a little solo singing part, and I went up on stage, and I liked that I was kind of like not just in this big choir of kids, like it was kind of like my own deal. And like hearing people cheer, I was like, I like that. Like that's a lot of fun. So it just kind of went from there, and now I can kind of see why we're in a band. It's you kind of live for that. It's fun, you know.
So how do you think being in Texas, shaped you guys as musicians? Texas has had a lot of, awesome bands, ZZ Top, Pantera, a lot of legendary, a lot of blues artists. How do you think that's influenced you guys as musicians?
For me, it's really just been there's really nothing that interesting to do out here. And it's like music is the thing to do. I just sit in my room and I study and play and play and play because there's nothing to do. It's flat, and I'm not hating on Texas, okay? It's just not my thing.
We're hating on Texas.
But honestly though, like it's good for the music in my opinion. So that's the plus.
Yeah, the isolation really helps with just getting good at your instrument for sure.
Now, what do you think is the best part about playing live? How's the scene out there in Texas? You guys probably, you guys do a lot of shows out there. How's the scene for you guys out there?
I mean, it's okay. There's a few like little local scenes going, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, we mostly travel to Austin for our bigger shows. We played with Sarah and the Sundays, and recently Beauty School Dropout. That was a lot of fun. We played with them at Trees in Dallas. And what's it been? What was the name of that one venue in Austin?
I think it was called the Spider House at the Ballroom or something like that.
Yeah, we played there, and it's pretty fun. I mean, live shows out here, they're just as good as live shows when we went on tour. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think the scene here is really there's a lot of, it's funny because even though Texas is kind of far apart and everything is just far from each other, the main scene, just they all kind of travel. Like we have a show in Denton and the same kids show up at the show 3 hours away in Tyler. Like it's very it's clicky, but it's also just very like if they're gonna show up at one show, they'll show up at all your shows kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Now, how was it like being on tour? You guys did a tour. When was this?
When was it, guys?
It was a little over a year ago exactly. So probably like last November.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. That was our first tour. None of us were old enough to rent a van, so our mom drove us around. We played New York, Chicago, Connecticut, a lot, just mainly East Coast, and it was a lot of fun. It was a good experience, for a first tour. So I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got a lot of just like good world experience through that and good tour experience, and just kind of, it was a little taste of, future tours, and we got to meet some cool and interesting people, and it was just a really some really interesting people, and it was just a really good experience.
Now, you guys haven't played in California yet, right?
Yeah, we did. We played one show. It was at the Mint, and that was really weird. Like that's like, I think that was like one of the weirdest venues we've ever played. It felt like we were at a restaurant, and like we were like playing our set. It's pretty heavy ish, and like I think the people that opened for us were kind of like 70s bands. Like they did like some covers and all that, and really skin tight pants and all that good stuff, the whole spiel. And then we went up there, and there was a dude just eating steak and mashed potatoes in front of us, just like watching. So I was like, this is weird. Like, this is the weirdest venue I've played.
I think that venue is better for like jazz and blues and the more stuff to like eat dinner to, but like we're close to that. So it was a little bit weird. We hope to play there very soon, hopefully in January when we go out there.
What do you think is the best part about playing live as a band?
I really like the after part of the show because we practice a lot as a band to be as tight as possible. And if people after the show say that you did really good and that it sounds good, that's kind of what I live for, just the gratification of our work.
Now, since you guys when you guys practice, how do you guys practice without a drummer? Do you guys use a drum machine?
We have a drummer. He's not here right now. We kind of are bouncing around drummers right now, unfortunately, for reasons. And he's not here right now. We're kind of the main three.
Now, when you guys are playing live, do you think it's like it's better to play live in front of people, or do you like playing in the studio? What do you think is better?
People, for sure.
Yeah, people. It's just that connection you can make with them, and like they're dancing the music, you're dancing on stage to the music. It's just a good time.
Any shows coming up you could promote for our audience?
Yeah, so we have a little mini tour on the Texas leg of a band called Aberdeen is Dead. We're playing December 8th in Austin, Texas at Hole in the Wall in Austin, and the 29th in Dallas, Deep Elm Art Co. And I'm trying to remember. I really suck at this. And 30th.
The end.
The end, Houston. That's kind of what we got going right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, where can people find your music?
Everywhere. Spotify, TikTok, iTunes, SoundCloud.
Yeah, it's just all of Vox on any streaming service you could possibly think of.
And it's social media, same thing, right? You guys are mainly on Instagram or TikTok?
Both.
Everything, yep. Olive.vox.
You could find little teasers of new up and coming music on those platforms.
Now, if you could give advice to young musicians out there, what would you give? What advice would you have for them?
Don't try to kill yourself over not, you know what, actually, I'm going to change that. Be inspired. Be inspired by music, by bigger musicians, because that's really what's going to get you going.
Yeah. And be patient with yourself. Don't expect yourself to just get good instantly. It's a long process. And if you enjoy it, it's a fun journey. But if you don't, it sucks. But once you get to a certain point, it pays off. It really does.
Yeah, adding to all that, things take time. Prime example where we met you, Turnstile, if you go back on their Spotify, you can see that their EP was released in 2011, so when that they released that and then it's 2022, that many years later, now they're playing the Palladium. So things take time. So be patient and don't give up too easy.
Yeah, the love of music will make the whole process feel a lot shorter.
All right. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show today. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Stay heavy, everybody.
All right.